Well, good evening. It is Wednesday evening, and I don't know if I'm going to get this video put up tonight or not, but here we go. Remember the other day I talked some about the Dutch ovens that were on my counter? Now, this is the one that does not have a lid. But I have not done anything with this pan for, what, 3-4 months. And you saw how it was stored, and this is what it looks like, and I'm kind of proud of that as far as the inside's concerned. The outside, yeah, we're getting there. It's looking a little rusty in a couple spots, so what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can put a little bit more seasoning on that. Now what I just did is I just turned my stove up to better than medium heights, but not all the way up either. We're gonna warm that pan up, and as we warm that pan up, we're gonna do a few more other things. Hang on here just a second, and I'll get it set up here to where you can watch me do it. Okay, and from this angle you can see that the burner is running through cycles underneath it. And away we'll go. We'll see if we can get you set up here to where you can look a little bit better. And again, I haven't changed that. We're nowhere close to being ready to do this. But this is warming up. It does not take long for that to be done. Okay, so what we're going to do, again, I'm not paid, sponsored, any of this kind of stuff. I'm just telling you what I use. And so what I'm doing here is I'm taking a Viva towel, just the plain soft cotton feel Viva towel. And you can see we got marks here. You know what? I wouldn't want to leave my hand on there very long. But yeah, we're going to do some spray down, and I do this usually with grapeseed oil. I think I still got grapeseed oil up here. I got flaxseed oil, that works well too. I've got grapeseed oil. Let's use the grapeseed oil. That's gonna heat up. I probably should also get a mitten. Yeah, got a mitten. This is a right-handed mitten. Do I have a left-handed mitten? I think I do. I'm not sure what I've done with it. Maybe down in the wash. There's another, there's a left-handed mitten. Yeah. And that'll keep me from getting my hand burnt as I do some manipulation. Now, got a couple of marks where it's starting to rust, and then some of these marks are just from where it's been sitting on the counter. But this up here is rust marks. These are rust marks. Yeah, there you can see that hot pan and that hot stove. Yeah, I'm gonna let that warm up just a little bit. Matter of fact, I may let that go until it starts smoking just a little bit. I got a project ahead of me here. I want to make a stew in the crock pot. And I don't know, can you see it there? Yeah, you can see it there, kinda. I went out and bought that particular, this is a non-stick pan. The reason I got a non-stick pan was so that I can run tomato sauce in it. Not supposed to run tomato sauce in cast iron. It does not, but there's enough acid in it to eat the seasoning right off, but no matter what you season it with. I know there are a lot of people who do use their cast iron for tomato sauce products, but it's best not to. And yeah, let's take that apart. One of the reasons I got this particular one because it's got a glass lid. Now, the other thing that it does, and I'll show you this in just a second here, it's looking for a specific type of pan, and this one does it. I think, can you read that? Right here it says harder coating, longer lasting, better melt transfer, metal utensil safe. And then this is the line I'm really looking for, the oven and broiler safe. You can take that whole thing and put it in the oven, even with the lid on it, according to the ballyhoo I'm reading on these things. So I should be able to put tomato sauces and that kind of stuff in the oven. Somebody said we'll just use a Pyrex dish to do that with. There are times I don't like to use I don't like to use glass, and here in a day or two I'll show you one of those things that I don't use Pyrex for. And they would probably tell me that I'm crazy for not wanting to use their deal. Well, one of the things about this is a 4-quart pan too. Now it's a 5-quart pan. That's even better yet. So you can load this one up pretty heavy. Okay. And yeah, I just went down the aisle at Wally World and picked that out. And I think it's going to fit my needs. Hoping so. And I've made an executive decision. You may have seen her in this video, or him in this video. I have decided that Ert has been with me long enough that as the winter sets on, he doesn't need to be just running around outside. So I have brought him inside. Yeah, that's warm now. Okay. So I'm going to turn that off for a moment. I will turn it back on in a moment. Let's see. Here's the one I've already got folded up. Okay, so what you do here, and again, I guess I'll have to re-rinse that. You can't see what I'm working with here. Grapeseed oil. And when you do this, you don't need a lot of oil when you're doing this, because that is going to spread. You know how when you make good pancakes, the oil spreads around in the pan? And that's what we're doing here. And if I do this right, I can show you that almost immediately covers the rust. Now, had that rust been any worse, I would have actually taken some salt to it and scrubbed it. But that's actually not in too bad a shape. Okay, but you see how that, just a little bit of oil, took care of that. And what should be happening here is, as I use this and continually re-season the exterior of the pan this way after using it, that outside should become just as glossy and everything as what the inside is. Okay, so there we go. Now, you remember I said I was gonna do some little bit of cooking here. I pulled this pan out intentionally because I want to do some cooking with it. I'm gonna turn that, bring you in just a little bit closer here. And I am going to get a 1.5 pounds. I think it's 1.5 pounds. That's actually 2 pounds, but that's okay. 2 pounds of burger and 2 pounds of sausage. And we're gonna let that start working. I'm gonna, Let's see, will this lid fit on that? Oh, look at there. That lid fits on there just almost perfectly. It's another lid that I picked up off of the Goodwill rack. And it works. I'm going to re-rinse this screen. I had it sitting there on the Ninja and somehow it got bumped off. We're going to re-rinse that. I may even re-wipe that real quick. That'll keep me from splattering. Because there are going to be times I'm going to look at this. Now then, you see this white marker? This is that same oiled Viva that I was using before. That should take those spots right off too. Whether they're the beginning of a rust spot or the the possibility of residue from sitting around, cleans that right up. By the way, yes, I did not rinse that pan off, but I did wipe it out really, really well before we started here. So that pan is going to be okay for what I'm doing it. And I'm going to turn my burner back up to, and you can't see what I just did there. Turn my burner back up to not quite medium heat. And we're going to start the process of getting this. The other thing I am going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of avocado oil in here, just so that I pulled this meat right out of the freezer. And by putting just a little bit of avocado oil, it doesn't have to be avocado. That could have been olive oil. It could have been butter. All sorts of different stuff it could have been and been just fine. And anyway, this is 1 pound of Fairways sausage that, I don't know, I think I probably had it in the freezer now for probably 2 months. It's coming out just as good as what it was when it went in. That'll wake you up. Okay, and this is what the screen is for. So I got a pound of sausage, and that's just the regular sausage. You can put any of the ground sausages in there. I don't mind a mild Italian sausage. I'm not particularly fond of what they call Graziano sausage. There's a pepper that they put in the Graziano sausage that does not fit well with me. So this is 2 pounds of Fairways hamburgers, and this is their. I'm pretty sure, yeah, this was their grind. I got it on special the night that I bought it, and that's the reason why I bought as much of it as I did. I pretty well cleaned out the rack, because I know I can bring that home and it works right up. I'm going to move that over. That's going to be gone. Yeah, anyway, like I said, we've turned the flame back down to low. It gets done popping here. And I may, let's see, what else do I have here for lids? This lid is way too small for this pan, if I remember right. Yeah, way too small. So we won't use that. Okay. We may just go with what we got there. So anyway, what'll happen here is no higher than what I got this. This stuff will just pretty much steam itself melted. We'll mix it as we go. This is going to go into the stew pot. We're going to make a stew. And here we go. Okay. We're beginning to get things ready to get in here. The two meat blocks are still pretty much ice balls in there, but they're coming along. You see, I got an onion diced up. There's nothing special about the way I dice onions up. I'm about to dice up a green pepper. I got the fan on to pull the onion vapor away. That must be a good onion because my eyes are watered off the wazoo. It is doing well. If you look at the deal on the stove control, I have turned this up just a little bit. Got enough water in the bottom of water and grease in the bottom of this. This should start thawing out pretty heavily, pretty quickly here now. And you don't put your veggies, the stuff you want to saute, the onions and the pepper, you don't put that in to this until the meat has become thawed and you're ready to start browning the meat. So away we go. Little by little we'll get there. This is basically why I'm going to do a stew this time. This is also basically the way I start my chili pots and go from there. Okay, we're going to put the lid back on this and let it thaw for a little bit. We'll come back to it. Yeah, you can probably see the clock. That clock is not set right, by the way, but I don't mess with it during the videos, so what you see, the progressive of that clock is where we're at. Okay, one more turn on the meat here. Let's see what we get. Oh, yeah. That's beginning to do what I want it to do. As you melt the, as you warm these up, water comes out of it. I got the water in the bottom of the thing. You see how this time my relief strips here are almost a ½ inch thick. At this rate, it won't take long for that to cook on out at all. When you do that, you obviously you want to chop up the strips that you slab off of it. You do want to get both sides. The top side you won't get near as much off of as what you do the bottom side. But away you go. Okay, I'm going to turn that over, and we're going to work the other side this time. And away we go. We're almost to the point where we're going to start putting some salt, pepper, that kind of stuff. I usually wait for it to pretty well get to the place where you start searing the meat. We're not there yet. Yeah, this pork, this sausage is really slapping off here. Just about got, oh, that sausage smells good too. Fairway makes good sausage. I like it better than I do any other store crafted sausage I've ever ran across other places. It's just good stuff. I just like Fairway's meat selection, their meat quality, and the fact that you can go in and you can kind of pick and choose what you want as you're buying. So, to me, that makes a world of difference. Yeah, we were just about, matter of fact, let me show you. That's how small the chunk of pork is. And each time you do something with it here, yeah, I'm able to break pieces off of it. And away we'll go. Okay. Well, we'll let that keep thawing out. And away we'll go. Center my pot on the burner. And again, at this point now, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the stove is almost, the burner is almost at half intensity, half height. So away we go. Yeah, now we're going to dice up a pepper, rinse it off. And for stew this way, I just use a regular bell pepper. Sometimes I'll get something with a little bit of heat to it, but not very often. Even out the pepper, all this kind of adventure, and there's nothing inside the pepper that's going to hurt the stew sauce when I open that up. Pieces are flying, those end up in the stew, it's no big deal. But, get it cleaned out, and that way works pretty good. However, I always try to get as much as the membrane out of it. Like I said the other day, with hotter peppers, sometimes the pepper membrane will mess me up. And in this case, with this being a store-bought pepper, I don't know what hybrid pepper this is. So I don't know what to look for and avoid in terms of the membrane. So I usually just pretty much take the membrane completely out and away. Dicing up the peppers, probably like dicing up the onion. I probably should just assume that you know how to do this and quit it. This end of the pepper was a little soft. We're going to throw that particular part of it away. And away we'll go. Found a seed. I'm not particularly fond of having seeds in my stew. If it happens, it's not a deal breaker by any means, but it seems a little bit more, have a little more continuity if you don't have them. So. And obviously I'm leaving some pretty big chunks there. Away we'll go. Oh, one last chunk, a couple last chunks of pepper here to dice up. Come on, baby. Yep, that's not necessarily a pretty particular pepper has some pretty tough skin, evidently. Especially with this fillet knife, that usually cuts right through just like it is here. I think it depends on what angle you get on it, maybe. Away we go. We'll dice this up. Then we'll check the stew pot again. Come on, baby. That's pretty nicely diced pepper. turning away from the stew pot. Can you see it boiling in there? It's boiling pretty good. I'm going to bet that I figured by now that pretty well be able to chunk everything up. The pork sausage is now completely thawed, and the hamburger doesn't have much left to go. And it's breaking up pretty nice over here. And at some point here, now, one thing I do that maybe other people don't do, and maybe I'm wrong for doing it this way, is I don't drain this meat, okay? At some point here, I'm going to put a package of brown gravy mix in here with all this. And so, that already beef broth moisture is, as far as I'm concerned, it's good for it now. Some people will tell you need to drain the meat to get the grease off of it. My response to that is, if you buy good meat to begin with, you don't have to worry about draining grease off. The other thing is if you do have grease that needs to come off, there will be a carton of beef stock that goes in with all of this at some point. And at that point, if there is excess grease, it'll rise to the top. You can skim it off. You don't have to leave it in the mix forever. But yeah, get all the flavor you can out of your meat. As you can tell, this is chopping up really, really nicely. We're going to go one more time and see what we get here. It's not going to be too much longer before I turn the fire up, put my veggies in, and start searing all this together. But for right now, we still have a block of frozen meat in there. Let's continue to get that worked through. Okay, and hopefully this is the last ice break up here. Oh, that's looking good. What do I do with my mitten? Yeah, I'm not going to grab that pan without the mitten either. Wow, I thought I put it right here. What did I do with the mitten, Ezzy? There it is. I found it. There it is. Yep. The hotter your pan gets, the more you need the mitten. Oh yeah, look at there. That all broke up. So, this is, then you just keep chopping this stuff up. Even in beef stew, you really don't want big, heavy pieces of meat. And the more you chop, the more you begin to blend the sausage with the beef. And, yeah, it works pretty good. Now then, obviously those last couple pieces that I just chopped up there are not cooked all the way through. Okay, so we still got to do some cooking on this. But what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and throw those saute veggies in with it. And we're going to cover it with a lid one last time. And I think from there on out, we'll probably use the splatter screen. So, okay, now that I remember what I did with that mitten, let's put it right back where I lost it at. I should be able to remember where it's at next time. Okay. That didn't work quite as smoothly as I was hoping it would. And one of these days, before too much longer, I might have to move the stove and the refrigerator out and do my annual cleaning there. It's not been all that long since I've done it, but it's one of those, if you don't do it, things get gross pretty quickly, actually. Okay. Here's something I really like, is this implement right here. This has kind of got a nice blade edge. This is like a pie or cake server. It works real nice for doing this. You can't see what I'm doing with that though, can you? Okay. So, do it like this. And also, if you do happen to bump your skin, you're not cutting yourself with it. Works out real nice. I'm going to avoid those pepper seeds. And, yeah, I think we got that done. I think I've got 3 of those particular kinds of spatula. And I like it a lot. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this all just kind of saute and steam together here for a little bit. And this should pick right up. Yeah, you see this ring here and that kind of stuff. A lot of people start worrying when they do that to their glass stove, but I showed you a couple videos ago how I cleaned the glass stove, and that'll come right out. No problem at all. Okay, well, we're going to let that steam together a little bit, and then we're going to... I put that all back together, and you didn't see a thing of it. Great. Way to go, Joe. Way to know how to make a video. Oh, well, we'll get there. What I was started to say here is we'll come back in a little bit, and we'll probably put the brown gravy mix in, let it kind of steam together with this stuff here in a little bit. But we want to let those veggies soften and steam on their own before we do that. Yeah, the other thing we'll want to do when we put our brown gravy mix in is we'll want to put the celery in. I don't know, can you see the top? Yeah, you can see the tops. I've cut off the celery. Now there will be a few leaves and stuff like this in these diced celeries, but that's okay. You know what? I think my knife is not working with me as nicely as what it used to. Maybe that means I need to sharpen it, huh? Let's see what happens if I do. Let's see, I've got that one. Yep, that's the one I want here, I think. Yeah, this is the one I really want. Now, I'm one of those fools. This is gonna end up, this stew is gonna almost end up like a pot roast kind of a deal. And I like lots of celery. By the way, no, I do not intend to eat this all in one sitting. I will put most of this in the containers and freeze it. And then as the winter goes through, I'll take out individual packages of it, microwave it up. It'll work out pretty good. And especially if I get to start working out in the shop and everything this winter the way I want to. Yeah. So those I will either put out in the compost pile or else I'll come back to them and get some more salvageable stuff off of them. But yeah, there's my diced celery. And like I said, a little bit of celery leaf in the deal isn't going to hurt at all. By doing that, you can rinse it off while the stock is full, and pretty well get it clean. I'll probably rinse those real good before I put them in the stew pot. It kind of looks like maybe I need to put the stew pot back on top of the burner, huh? So away we go. Okay, we're going to start putting this together, and we're going to start out with adding some beef broth. And I just picked up this package of beef broth. It's got looks like even from here, about a 15-month use date on it. So it's got a use date of February of 26. So I'm not going to overdo that at all. I'm going to go ahead and start putting this celery in there. And that doesn't look too bad at all. And at this point, we're probably going to start putting some salt and that kind of stuff on it. Now then, you see the Dutch oven here? That's the Dutch oven. And then over there is the crock pot where I'm going to finish this. I'm going to let this boil together here for, oh, I don't know, probably 15-20 minutes, and then I'm going to put it on in the crock pot along with some potatoes and carrots. That should handle it all with no problem at all. And I'm pretty sure I've got another or box of broth back there someplace if I need it. Probably won't though. This will probably cook up pretty good actually. Oh, I know what I don't have in there yet, and I do want there in there at this point. And that's my package of brown gravy mix. I do want that in there at this point. And basically all this really is a thickener. Most of these are starch based, and so they usually, but they got a little bit of flavoring to them and that kind of thing as well. So that usually works pretty good. It's one packet. If you want it thicker, you can put a second one in. I just like it to have a little bit of character to it, and then actually cook it down rather than trying to leave it all soupy. But yeah, this will cook down, cook in, and that I'm put it in the freezer and enjoy it. Yeah, let's get those onions off of there. Make sure they all get in there. Away we'll go. Yeah. We're getting there. You're probably bored too. I did that again. I swung the camera away and then started working on the pot again. Okay, I put the package of beef gravy in there. Okay, the beef gravy mix. Maybe this is why I don't have any more subscribers than I do, huh? And for those of you who have subscribed and stick with me, thank you. I appreciate it. I feel sorry for you. Okay. And I'm actually going to turn the flame up underneath that just a little bit. No, you didn't see me do that either. But I've got the flame turned up to just over halfway medium here. And that should boil up pretty good, actually. We'll give it about 10-15 minutes and see what happens. Okay, I'm not going to be able to get all of these in here, but I'm going to go ahead and put as many of my baby carrots in here as I can. I got 2 pounds of baby carrots. This really hasn't started boiling yet since I put the brown gravy mix in. But we're going to put some of these in here anyway. And yeah, I'm going to get over half of them in. Sometimes you wonder what the manufacturing process is when they leave you stuff like that. But then again, I suppose worse things have happened. I will cut that end off. Well, there's another one. I'll cut those ends off of here. And that's just a matter of, in the manufacturing process, they didn't get the top end of the carrot, the leaf end of the carrot clean. Oh, looky there. There's another one right there. Maybe I don't want this brand of carrots. Actually, baby carrots are not any different than other carrots, other than the way they process them. They bring a full-size carrot in and shave it down and end up with what you got. So, there you go. Next year, some point here, I want to get to the place where I'm growing my own veggies and everything like that, and know what I've got going into my cute little body. Okay, let's see if we can get some salt in here. Is this boiling yet? Just beginning to boil. I'm going to let that boil a little harder before I salt it. The movement of the boiling water activates the salt and lets it permeate things a whole lot. Okay, there my stew is beginning to boil pretty nicely. There's what was left of those carrots, and that's also I think a 2-pound container of little whites. For a stew that way, that'll work pretty good. Just pink salt. That's a good sized pot. So for good sized pots, you use lots of salt. Yeah, that's beginning to take shape now. I think I got one more package of brown gravy mix. I may put one more package of brown gravy mix in there. I think I had another one. Looky here. Different brand, but oh, here we go. This one says 30% less sodium. After all the salt I just put in there, that could be a major factor, right? I got my blood test panel back, and according to my blood test panel, I don't have too much sodium in my system. I'm actually kind of at the low end, which surprised me because I'm not afraid to eat salt. So, yeah, I was nowhere close to being in the over salted category. What was strange, and was kind of surprised to me, was one of the screens came back showing that I didn't have enough vitamin D3. That means evidently that I'm not getting out in the sun enough. So I'm supposed to take 1,000 international units of D3 a day now for a while, just to see what happens here. We'll be okay with that. Yeah. The bouillon in this particular package of brown gravy mix is not breaking up and melting, absorbing the way that I was hoping it would. But yeah, away we'll go. Hey, I got a phone call. Well, that is between 15 and 20 minutes of boiling. And so the stew pot should be just about ready to transfer over to the crock pot. And so that means either I gotta get really lucky or just do this with a dipper to begin with. And I think I'm going to use that option. That, as you can tell, if I just get out from in front of you, I just shut that fire off and that's boiling quite well. So we'll just start maneuvering it over. And this will be like you watching paint dry yet one more time. But we'll get all of this into the crock pot basin here. And then we'll plug that in. And then we'll end this video. And I'll start a new video tomorrow after it's cooked overnight. And we'll go. But this is the way I set up my basically my crock pot roast. Only I'm using ground beef here this time instead of stew meat. It's just one of those things where I had a package of beef that probably needed to be taken care of, and this was the easiest way to do it. Okay, so I'll continue doing that. I'm going to let you go, and you have a good one. I'll show you this tomorrow, and have a good one. Thanks for watching. Bye.